This is Theology Bits, a ministry of Central Lutheran Church, Eugene, Oregon. I'm Pastor Ben. This week, we continue in our series, Stories of Creation in the Bible, and our third installment on the book of Proverbs. And remember, this series is it began with Genesis 1 and 2 and is trying to show there are other stories of creation in the Bible, and they have different emphases on what we could do productively with theology. Well, the book of Proverbs is one of those books that does talk about creation in a variety of ways. It's really Proverbs chapters 1 through 9 that is going to discuss this in any depth. And the book of Proverbs is an interesting book. It has these short aphorisms, sometimes called riddles, within it. But there are some overarching themes, and we want to look at just the one that relates to the story of creation, and probably most notably dealing with this character wisdom with a capital W. This is introduced in chapter 1, and wisdom in the book of Proverbs is not just a thing people acquire, like a character trait, the way that we tend to think of it, but wisdom is an actor, a chokmah in the Old Testament, or Sophia in Greek. And this wisdom does things. It calls out, and it calls to people, and calling in what is a life of happiness or blessedness, very similar term there. And it's something that enters into one's heart. And so it's a very different kind of thing, this character wisdom. Well, the aspect that is very interesting about wisdom is that it's tied to creation. So on this side of the page, give or take, I'm going to just list out some of the things that relate wisdom with creation, and then we're going to explore the theology behind it. So it says that by wisdom, or through wisdom, by means of wisdom, the earth was founded, and the heavens established. So we have this wisdom has a role in how earth is founded and heaven established. But then it goes on, and this is famous in Proverbs chapter 8, that it says, before the beginnings of the earth, there was wisdom. It actually says, God made me. Wisdom is speaking. Remember, wisdom is a character. God made me before the beginnings of the earth. God created me before the beginnings of the earth. So it's before the beginnings of the earth, when there were no depths, when there were no springs, meaning of water, no mountains, no soil, no heavens, no seas. And before the earth was marked, before all of that, it says explicitly, there's a different color to emphasize, I was there. So it's about creation, that by wisdom the earth was founded, but the point is that before what we would usually call the creation, there was wisdom. And it says that the Lord created wisdom at the beginning of the earth. So you have this this sense of wisdom has been a participant in creation. And if we look at what is presented here, this is before, if you're going to go in Genesis 1, before the 7 days of creation. That is, it is before this that we even begin discussing. Remember, it's the day 2 of creation. God separates the land from the water. But what it doesn't say is the creation of the water. The water was already there. Here it's saying, no, indeed, all that was created, but wisdom was there before. So if you're going to have it on some sort of cosmic clock, this is going further back in time than the period of Genesis chapter 1. So if Genesis chapter 1 is this way in time, here we're talking about what was before that. And so we have a very different drama of what's being brought up. But what I'd like to emphasize is, what does this mean for the theology? Because what it's really not going to be too interested in, frankly, is explaining origins. Meaning the question of why. Why did we get here, and why does the world look this way? It's not that interested in that question, because wisdom is about something else. And in fact, in chapter 8, or maybe it's chapter 7, we have something being brought up. The tree of life. This is something that you know of, most notably from the Garden of Eden. But the tree of life was not about the origin of life. It was about the experience of life. Life that really is life. The kind of life, say, for example, you see in the Gospel of John. And this is why in that drama of Genesis chapter 3, after the fall, that the family is kicked out of Eden because they've eaten from the other tree, the knowledge of the good and evil, and they might eat from this tree of life, and then they would live forever and be unto like God. And so they are separated from that tree of life. Here, wisdom is that tree of life. You're not separated. It is very present. One of the key points of theology of wisdom in Proverbs is that wisdom is very present and available. But the focus then continues on this experience of life, of this idea of, if you follow the ways of wisdom, happiness will follow you. I know happiness, it doesn't translate well, because happy in English can be pretty facile. Some people like the term blessed. The trouble with the term blessed is that has an overtly religious tone that sometimes doesn't mean anything in the physical world. So somewhere in between there, that includes the good life that you are seeking, the productive life that you are seeking, is really the focus here. So it's using creation, a lot of creation things, but not to explain how creation got here. After all, it was before that. It was to explain that what is your present life all about. That it was by wisdom the earth was founded, so therefore, if you live by wisdom, you can walk in security. This is going to be a slight pun, but you can be grounded in a secure life rather than a chaotic one if you're in this wisdom. And that comes from the fact that wisdom was there from the start, that creation was there. And then it's going to be very clearly, what is it wisdom does in the present world? What is this wisdom? What is it about? Well, it says two things, is that wisdom is God's delight, and wisdom delights in the human race. Well, what does that mean? Well, we'll notice this. If we were to make it on a map, this is vertically. How is wisdom relating to God? It's God's delight. But also, how is wisdom relating to humans? It's what delights in the human race. We use the word playing in the world and delighting in the human race. And so you might actually draw a diagram where if there's God and then here's humans, these things aren't connecting, except there is this mediating group called wisdom, the one that participates in both God and humanity. And we're going to find that wisdom is seen as divine. This is, oh, that didn't work very well, divine. This is an aspect of who God is, an expression of God. The goal is this personal interaction and to be related to that. And the point then about the creation is that the creation is set for human interaction with God. That wisdom is the vehicle that connects the creation with the creator, and that you have the productive life you live right now is available for you. And so this is a very different use of creation. It's not about origins. It's not about explaining why. It's about living productively right now. It's about how can I have a relationship with God at all? And that's the picture that you have here with this theology of divine wisdom in Proverbs. This has been Theology Bits. I'm Pastor Ben.